without the nonsense of these long VAR checks.
So
What are you laughing?
I'm just laughing at whether you prefer getting the call right or the alternative.
Well, I do enjoy getting the call right, and I think there's obviously probably been mistakes this weekend across the board. But I think a lot of the big games that we watched, the referees in the main have had to step up. And I think that's been one of the big criticisms, that the referees have been a little bit behind the 8 ball with their own game, knowing that they're relying on VAR, where a lot of them didn't have this weekend. So it's not going away, VAR, right? I think it's overused at the moment, but there was some sort of enjoyment in watching games, not them all, but a lot of them that we knew were not going to be checked. I don't know. It was just. What do you think about it?
There's some instances where you need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goal line technology is like.
That's my argument.
You have to have it.
Goal line, checking penalties in the box.
Yeah.
But what do you think? And I don't want a big VAR discussion.
No.
But we had a big Eric Dyer one yesterday, so why not?
Yeah.
You know,
not as long as
not
the
re-refereeing the game between when the game's outside the penalty areas. For example, the Calvert-Lewin one from the other day, I don't know if you saw that with the high boot, is not continue. I think where people are having problems is the re-refereeing of games, and so it was quite nice today, just to go back a little bit and say, oh, that was fun. The referee made a big decision.
Yeah, and it was quite nice for Mauricio Pochettino at the end of this game, because his side did what they needed to do, because there would have been a bit of pressure on him had they not managed to do that, Kieran.
Oh, yeah. A big sigh of relief from him for sure. I mean, they found their feet. And listen, no one is denying the talent that this Chelsea team have. You know, it's very apparent. It just goes back to, you know, the thought that it's not as easy as just bringing in a huge group of players and spending all of that money and thinking that you're going to just win things and be a successful team. There's a lot more to it than that, and we're clearly seeing that at the moment with Chelsea. But you know, credit to them, they've got the job done today. It's not easy, especially when you're in, you know, one of those ruts and that form. Those games particularly become even harder. So you have to give them credit. They stepped up in the second half, and it was a much better performance.
So let's bring up their first 11 from today for this game, and just a look from you, Craig, at who did stand out for you. Well, obviously we're talking more probably second half in this clash, but who stood out for you overall in the end after this result?
I think Raheem Sterling took the bull by the horns in the second half. You know, always looking to get on the ball, get turned, get running at defenders and back them up into the box. I think Mudryk, as the game went on, I just think there's a lot, and I just think I can't work this guy out, right? Because he has, on the face of it, everything. He's got good trickery, got great pace, but we were watching the game, and Kieran, you were saying to me, he could do, in your opinion, with simplifying things.
Yeah,
Mudryk,
I mean,
that is.
Yeah, because he's just, you know, he's so hard to stop over the first 5-10 yards. I mean, we saw it in the second half when, you know, he opens it out of his feet and just whips a ball in, and no one got on the end of it in the end. But, you know, sometimes if you just simplify things and take things a bit more in your stride and don't overthink it and don't overcomplicate it, you can actually be a lot more effective. He's got the capability of getting, you know, most chances created in a season easily.
So is that on him, or is that on his coach, or both?
I think it's a bit of both. Honestly. But like, you know, he's coming into the big boy league now, and you know, you don't get away with a lot of stuff in this league as opposed to other leagues. So he's got a lot of learning to do. He's been injured as well, so he's got you know, he's going to find his feet, I think. But he has all the capabilities of being, you know, probably the Premier League's most dangerous. One of the most dangerous players in the league if he just simplifies his game a little bit.
But it is sort of, I mean, it's big boys' rules now, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of grow up and show up, or see you later. I mean, we talk, you know, particularly this side of the pond, we've talked at length for a few years about Christian Pulisic and how certainly the American side of the argument would be, you know, he was never given enough chance and enough run of games, and he did have injuries. But, you know, we would harp on about end product, and so they would say, well, what's the difference? And the answer is there is no difference. And, you know, Christian Pulisic ultimately has had to go away to Milan and try and find his feet and get some game time, which he seems to be doing better. But it'll be no different for Mudryk, whether they got him on a free or paid, 60 million, whatever it is. It's going to come down to end product. Mauricio Pochettino is at a club where, even though the ownership has changed, they've still shown they'll hire and fire, right? So when it all buckles down and they get this kind of shambolic recruitment somewhat balanced, it will then be focused solely on results. And if you can bring me results as a player, you're in the team. If you can't bring me results, end product, quality in the final third, you're on the bench. And quite honestly, he's not the only one, but Mykhailo Mudryk to this point is so raw that we saw a couple of great things from him in the second half today, but unfortunately when you're playing at one of the big guys in British football, it needs to be on a consistent basis. So if he can't deliver that, the answer to the thing about Pulisic and others, there will be no difference. He will be on the bench and looking to play elsewhere. And it's difficult to gauge, when you say who impressed. It's not Chelsea versus Arsenal or Liverpool. With all due respect, they're playing against a side who are struggling in the Championship. They're at Stamford Bridge. We're kind of expecting them to dominate.
But you picked out Sterling still, because I want to talk about Raheem Sterling and what we saw from him.
Well, he's a big-time player. Yeah. It's whether he can reproduce the kind of form we saw on a regular basis at Man City. Yeah, I mean, Pochettino needs experienced players that are going to take a game by the scruff of the neck when you're having problems. And Raheem Sterling is one of those guys that can do that. Now, he started the season really well, and then it kind of fell away a little bit for him, and there was talk about getting back in the England squad. I think that ship may have sailed for him. You just never know. So he can concentrate, it looks, on playing for Chelsea. And again, one of the big criticisms of him over the years, when he left Liverpool as a youngster, his end product was pretty bad. But he went to a place in City where the standards were high. And his game upped in the final. It wasn't perfect, but his final third statistics got way better. And he needs to sort of keep doing that, and the others need to follow if Chelsea are going to have any kind of success.
I thought the big season. Lad up front as well was he can be effective. I thought he took his goal really well. He stays between the posts, which is what you want from a striker, and I think he can be a real handful. He's been out for a while, but I liked him today, especially against a stubborn Preston team. He huffed and he puffed up there, and it wasn't easy for him against the back three, but I think he held his own.
Well, something Pochettino had said before the game as well, he wants him to be able to put those injuries in the back of his mind.
Breuer?
Yeah, but how hard is it to do that?
Well, he was at Southampton on loan and he did really well. And I actually think there's a player in there. And maybe if he gets a run in the team, we'll see that. I've never seen him personally up close. I think you have. Or did you say he's a right
boy? Yeah.
He's a unit.
He's a unit.
A unit, as they say, yeah.
Is it in England? In Britain they say he's a unit,
Yeah,
which means he's a big, strong boy. But he's big and he's quick and he's fit again, and they need somebody that's a threat in the box. But again, it goes back to the end product. There's no point having somebody in there who's making these runs. Nothing worse for a striker. When you're making these runs and getting in between people and they're shanking it over the bar or they're turning back out. So it's when you get good delivery in and you've got somebody like that in there, you've got half a chance. And that's what got Chelsea off and running today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When they were a little bit more direct and simplified things, and just, sometimes you just get it out of your feet and just get it in the box. As long as you've got a big guy like that in there, you're going to cause problems. And so I like to see that from Chelsea today.
Eva, congratulations. Big win, of course, with you wearing the armband. It was almost like a tale of two halves, though. What was going on in the first half that they seemed a bit stubborn and hard to break down?
Yeah, they were very tough to break down in the first half. I think they set off well, and then when they had their chances, they countered us and they made it a lot harder for us. Then second half, but we had to match their energy and come out second half properly, and I think we did.
Did you get a bit of a hairdryer treatment in the half time?
Yeah, something like that. I think we needed it though, because obviously we weren't good enough, as everyone saw. But the second half was much better.
A lot of great goals out there today. Raz's zone, Raheem's zone. I mean, it's really difficult to get it up and over the wall like that. How many times in training does he practice?
Yeah, whenever he normally practices the day before a game, and he always scores. I think he scored 2 now, Newcastle, and then today, and he's also hit the bar against Bournemouth. So from that position, he's a specialist at free kicks.
You've had some youngsters, you're a youngster yourself, but you had some youngsters coming on and making an impact. But Armando, he's definitely growing in confidence, and you can see it out there. He's quite handy to play alongside. Yeah,
I love playing with him. He's a great striker, a good mate of mine, and I'm always trying to encourage him because I know how good he can be, and today showed it with his goal.
And finally, I guess you can't really celebrate this too much because you have a semi-final, two-legged semi-final coming up in the Carabao Cup. Mentally, a win like this, does it kind of give you that extra confidence if you didn't have it already?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've won a few on the bounce now. So going into Middlesbrough will be a tough game, especially away. But we've got to go with the same energy that we brought in the second half and hopefully get the win.
It'll be a lot colder there, but we'll see you there. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Richard Pochettino with Jonathan Pearce for our match of the day. What a very good win for you.
Yeah, it's a very good win. I think it's true that the first half a little bit disappointed because I seen we started too sloppy and I think so soft. And yes, I was disappointed. I told the players on the half time that we need to increase and to match the energy of Preston. Second half, I think, was a completely different game. I think we dominated and created chances and fully deserved the victory.
Because in the first half, their wing backs pushed you.
Yeah, but I think we show lack of desire, lack of yes, so disappointed because I think we were talking about to match the energy and the desire. I think they were better than us in these areas. And yes, I was really disappointed. But after we increased our level, I think we start to play, and I think we start to deserve to win the game.
It was a very good header for Armando Broja's goal. How important is that goal for him?
I think it should be amazing. He need to smile. He need to be positive. He need to change his body language. And I think he's scoring goals and feeling the net and performing well. I think he's going to improve, and yes, it's really important for him and for the team that he will improve in his confidence.
And how impressed were you with Raheem Sterling today?
No, of course, I think very good game and scoring goal. When the offensive players score goal, always I think the coaches we are always happy.
And Enzo Fernandez in the first half, he's not played much football for you, but as the game went on, he became more like Enzo Fernandez.
Yes, like the team was improving with time. But for Enzo, it's now to build again his confidence, and I think it was an important game for him to start to feel again that he can compete in the high level.
And how important was it to win a game in the way you won it in the last half an hour with Middlesbrough coming up?
I think it's important. I think because I think we are a young team that we need to build through the result, but through the performance. The confidence. Yes, so happy now. We need to be focused on Tuesday, semi-final against Middlesbrough. That is going to be tough, and of course now he's into thinking to recovery, and yes, looking forward. So happy in the way that we finish the game.
I just wonder, finally, you've managed huge names in the game, massive names in the game, but here you are in charge of a team you put out today. 8 players were 22 or younger. How much are you enjoying being with this group?
Yes, I think it's a massive responsibility. I think because we are in Chelsea, and of course I am enjoying because I think that is that is a project, that is the situation, and of course. I am a coach that love to win and love to be competitive and love to win titles, but of course, in the same time, I think we need to give time to the young kids also to improve and to be more mature. I think we need to find the right balance. We are working so hard. It's a lot of circus, but I think. Yes, matter of time that the team is going to perform because we have the quality. Only we need more time and we need experience, getting experience, and this type of game I think help the group and the team to be better.
Well, as we mentioned, we did have Alexis, Nunes and Julien are on pitch side for us today. Give us a little bit of insight, Alexis, to what was going down there pitch side. Obviously, a way better second half in terms of watching and entertainment than the first half.
Yeah, Kay, let me tell you that this man right here, Jules, literally nearly packed up his stuff and went home at halftime because he was highly disgusted by what he saw from Chelsea in the first half. A couple of the touches, a couple of the lack of passing that was, I suppose, good for the football palate. Jules was ready to get on and show them that he could do better. So, we were just talking about, Jules, 4-0 looks good on paper, but it kind of flattered Chelsea's performance overall.
I think so. I think you're right, Alex. It's just, nobody can tell me this team is improving. I don't see any improvement week after week, game after game.
Pochettino just said it'll take time, though.
But how long? How long? This is January 2024 now. He's been here since the 1st of July. I want to see something. The first half, literally, you and I and Freddie and Kay, we could all have played because there was no movement, nobody was doing anything, and the ball was clearly just, well, let's try to find Sterling somehow, or let's maybe wait for a run by Palmer like we saw on the best chance of the first half. That was it. The fullbacks don't participate in anything really. Those attacking midfielders don't do much either. While Mudryk was on the pitch in that first half, because they never used him, they never used his pace or his skill set. And I just don't understand where they're going. And yeah, they won. It's good. It's the third win in a row, 4 wins out of 5. I get that. And right now, the most important for them is to win. But the way they're playing, the style, I just don't see any development.
Well, speaking of that style, do you think there's some sort of, I suppose, maybe a lack of trust or some disjointedness going on, at least in the midfield? Because we were talking about how we were noticing a lot more long balls over the top and trying to get it to probably, like, say, Sterling or anybody up front to try and get that goal, not the usual try to play out from the back. It's almost like, why bother with the midfield then?
Yeah, that's true in a way, but Preston we said before the game they're decent, but for the championship, they're not a very good team, really, and they play that 5-4-1. Sorry. 5-4-1 with not much space. So I can understand it's hard to break those teams down anyway, always. But at least try to get a bit of ideas, and whether that's playing long or trying to. But there's just no combination. There's just nothing. I don't see patterns of play. I don't see finding the third man. I don't see anybody running into space. I just don't see much really. And maybe they were not too motivated in the first half because it was only Preston, and even the atmosphere was quite flat within the stadium, to be fair. But overall, every time I watch them, I just don't know what to say anymore, because every time I feel it's the same disappointment for me, even if they win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on that page with Jules, is what I was saying, at half-time. And at the end, you
Even
can't...
about those recent wins in 2023, you were saying not the most
Well, I mean, even if you go back to the last 2 games, Jules, they were comfortable against Luton, they almost threw it away. And the game before that, they were outplayed at home for long periods by Crystal Palace. So, I mean, we're not on the negative Chelsea train here, but at the end of the day, he couldn't afford to slip up. He didn't, but he cannot afford his team to play in that first 45 minutes the way they played in that first 45 minutes in the Premier League, or they're going to be in big trouble.
I agree with you, Craig, completely. And I know he says that in his time and he's still a big squad, but he wants new signing, to be fair. So he says the squad is too big, and yet he's asking for another striker and maybe another defender and maybe another midfielder. And I struggle to follow him a little bit, to be fair, in what he's trying to do on the pitch, what he's trying the team to do, and his message towards us, the media, but also towards the fans, towards the players. And I don't know, I'm just disappointed overall that I thought he would do better. I knew it would take a bit of time. I just thought it would be better by now. With the players that we saw today against a team like that, to be so poor for 55 minutes. And let's not forget, the first goal, it's Preston have the ball. They lose it very, very cheaply. That the ball gets to Gusto. It's a good cross. And Broja, who had nothing in the first half, finally got a good cross and put a good header. I'm not sure about Broja, to be fair, in this team. I'm less even sure about what the plan is really for Pochettino.
Well, I think Kay will probably be licking her chops knowing that her Borough will be going up against this Chelsea. If it's the Chelsea of the first half. But still, they did win 4-0 overall. And of course, maybe there may have been an air of cautiousness given the fact that they do have that semi-final. Some players that we mentioned, you did mention Broja, who is definitely growing in confidence. Raheem Sterling, before the game even started, you looked at me and you're like, your mate needs to do something tonight. This is special. And he got a special free kick, didn't he?
I think you even celebrated that free kick, to be fair.
I did, shamefully.
Kind of like secretly, but she went like this. I was like, whoa!
I screamed, oh.
I know. It's great. He scored one against Newcastle. He hit the bar against Bournemouth on free kick. Clearly, he's been practicing them a lot. He didn't have that skill set before.
Yeah.
So well done to him for taking that. There was all the other ones who could have taken it, like Palmer, of course. Or Enzo. He took it, scored it, really good. There's the corner.
What's your thoughts on Enzo?
The ball that he gave Palmer in the first half, this is what Enzo is all about.
Yeah.
But if again we go back to the lack of movement and the lack of identity to this team, if you give Enzo the ball, but around him there's no movement from either your fullbacks or for your wide players, even from your striker to come a bit deeper between the lines, Enzo can't do anything. You know, he's very good on the ball, but he's not a magician either. And I feel for him sometimes, because I look at him, and today we were really close here. We, as you know, Craig, at Stamford Bridge, we're very close to the pitch, and we could see him very well in the first half on the ball, and literally it was like, what's happening? Why is nobody moving? And I feel a bit for him. I think he should do more, but he can only do more if the rest of the team is better.
Well, you'll never know that Chelsea
Listen,
won 4-0
guys,
today, Kay. I
guys,
mean, the way
guys,
that Jules is upset.
Forgetting the game for a minute, because they've just beaten Preston off end, who, by the way, have won 2 games in 10. Going forward, Jules, we've seen this scattergun approach from Todd Bowley's investment firm with transfers, right? Is that going to continue? Where are they going to go in January? Is there going to be any movement in transfers, players out and players in? Are we going to see the scattergun approach that we've seen for a year or so? And to your knowledge, is Pochettino and all the people behind the scenes at Chelsea, are they on the same page in terms of their recruitment and transfer policy?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's good to come here because you see people. I saw people when I arrived. On the east end, the media entrance is also close to where you enter for the box, and so you see a lot of people always. And what they're saying is that Poch is on the same page as Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley, who are the 2 main sporting directors, if you want, who are working on this transfer window, that they will sign new players, that they will also have a few going out, like an Ian Madsen, especially the younger players, probably like Conor Gallagher as well, because Chelsea needs to bring some money in, and someone like him, like Madsen, because they are product of the academy, it's like free profit basically. So I think those 2 we could see them going out. He still wants a striker. He's 100% on a striker. Whether you think that Broja is good enough, or Nico Jackson, or whoever you want to play there, Pochettino is asking for number 9. Let's see if he gets it, and let's see who he gets. Because what would be the point of getting a number 9 that is not a top number 9? If you go and get one, at least go and get a top number 9.
Do you feel it's a bit unfair to Conor Gallagher, though, to kind of be used as a scapegoat just to get some money back in? It's not his fault that it's been scattergun approach and now it's looking like it's not living up to the prices.
No, you're right. I think that's fair. I think he loves the club as well. He's obviously Chelsea through and through. They might be able to keep him. I just think that in a pure financial logic and sustainability, I think they need some money in, and he's one of the highest value currently of the one that they would want to see go. He's certainly the highest one on the list. So let's see what offers come in, who comes in for him, and then what they decide to do. And again, they might be okay without selling him, but I feel like they will have to.
All right, so Jules definitely not impressed with what we saw from the Blues today. They're up against Kay's Borough in the week. Will definitely be their Kay, but your boys might be able to give it a good go at this Blues.